My dear friends, life has an interesting way of teaching us lessons. Some lessons come gently, like a soft breeze, reminding us to slow down. But some lessons come like a storm, shaking us, testing us, pushing us to the edge. And in those moments, we often ask, oh, why is this happening to me? But what if mental strength isn't built in comfort? What if life storms aren't punishments but invitations? Invitations to rise, to grow, to become a stronger, wiser version of ourselves. Mental strength is not about being emotionless. It's about being aware of your emotions and not being controlled by them. It's not about pretending everything is fine. It's about having the courage to face what is not fine and still choosing to move forward. When a potter shapes clay, he doesn't place it on soft cotton. He puts it on a hard surface, presses it, rotates it, sometimes even hits it. Not to break it, but to shape it. Life uses challenges in the same way. Pressure does not destroy us. It reveals our potential. Becoming mentally strong is the art of learning to stand when everything inside you wants to sit. It's choosing hope over fear, purpose over confusion, and progress over excuses. It's about understanding that life will not always give what we like, but it will always give what we need to grow. And remember, mental strength does not come overnight. It is a daily practice. Just like we nourish our body with food, we must nourish our mind with discipline, good thoughts, good company, and meaningful actions. The secret of becoming mentally strong is simple. You grow through what you go through. Every obstacle becomes a doorway. Every setback becomes a lesson. Every disappointment becomes protection from something not meant for you. And every challenge becomes a chapter of your transformation. So stand tall, walk forward, and believe that you're being prepared for something bigger than your fears. Because the strongest version of you is yet to come. When we look back at our lives, we realize that the moments that shaped us the most were rarely the easy ones. Comfort has never been a good teacher. Growth rarely comes from the days when everything goes according to plan. The true invitations to grow come disguised as challenges, disappointments, delays, failures, and unexpected detours. These moments arrive without warning, often leaving us confused or even hurt. But if we look closely, they carry a deeper purpose. They are not random events. They are life's way of nudging us towards a stronger version of ourselves. Challenges act as doorways, but at first they appear as walls. We stand before them thinking, why now or why me? But life sees something within us that we often fail to notice. The strength we haven't used yet, the courage we haven't discovered, the resilience we haven't awakened. Imagine a seed buried deep underground. To the seed, the darkness must feel uncomfortable and isolating. Yet, this struggle in the soil is exactly what prepares it to break through, to rise, to touch sunlight. If someone tried to help the seed by removing the soil, it would never grow strong enough to survive. In the same way, every challenge in our life is a layer of soil that pushes us, strengthens us, and prepares us for the moment when we finally rise above. We might not like the pressure, but without it, we couldn't grow. Sometimes the challenge is a failure, a project that collapses despite our best efforts. Sometimes it is a relationship that ends, leaving behind emptiness and unanswered questions. Sometimes it is an opportunity that slips away just when we felt ready. And we call these moments unfair, painful, or disappointing. But if we pause and observe, we realize each challenge carries a silent message. You are capable of more than you think. Life never sends difficulty without also giving inner strength to face it. The problem is that we only discover this strength when we are forced to use it. Many people wish for a smooth, effortless journey, but imagine what that would mean. A life without tests would also be a life without transformation. If a river never meets rocks, it never learns how to carve its path. If a bird never felt the resistance of wind, it would never learn how to fly. Resistance is not the enemy. It is the very force that shapes us. Challenges give us patience, clarity, humility, and an appreciation for life that comfort never can. There are times when challenges make us question our worth, our abilities, or our direction. But a challenge is not proof of weakness. It is proof of readiness. Life does not test those who are incapable. It tests those who are ready for the next chapter, even if they don't know it yet. When life removes something from our hands, it may be because our hands are meant to hold something bigger, something better, something more aligned with who we are becoming. So whenever a difficult moment arrives, instead of asking, why is this happening to me? We can try asking, what is this teaching me? That one shift turns pain into wisdom, confusion into clarity, and obstacles into opportunities. Challenges are invitations to grow, and if we accept the invitation with courage, humility, and patience, we step into a stronger version of ourselves, a version that was waiting within us all along. One of the biggest misunderstandings about mental strength is the belief that strong people feel nothing, that they somehow shut down their emotions and walk through life untouched by fear, sadness, or disappointment. But real strength is not the absence of emotion. It is the understanding of emotion. It is the ability to observe what you feel without allowing those feelings to control your decisions or your direction. When we try to suppress emotions, they don't disappear. They simply wait, quietly growing stronger, eventually overwhelming us at the wrong moment. But when we acknowledge them with awareness, they lose their grip on us. Imagine the mind as a room filled with switches. Every emotion, anger, joy, fear, love, sadness, is just a switch that turns on when certain situations occur. Mental strength does not mean turning off the switches. It means understanding why each switch turns on and learning how to respond. When anger appears, a mentally strong person doesn't explode. They notice it, breathe, and ask, why did this trigger me? When fear appears, they don't hide. They examine it, ask what it's trying to protect them from, and move forward with its clarity instead of panic. When sadness appears, they don't drown in it. They sit with it, understand it, and allow it to pass naturally. Awareness creates balance. It is easy to confuse emotional awareness with weakness. Many people believe that expressing fear or pain means they are fragile. But vulnerability is not a flaw, it is a form of honesty. A tree that bends in the wind does not break, it survives. In the same way, emotionally aware people bend, adapt, and adjust instead of forcing themselves to stay rigid. Rigidity breaks us, awareness protects us. Sometimes we react impulsively not because the situation is truly serious, but because old wounds, old memories, or old beliefs get activated. For example, someone may raise their voice at us, and suddenly we feel fear, not because of the present moment, but because of a past experience. A mentally strong mind can differentiate between the past and the present. It notices the emotional wave rising within and chooses a wise response instead of an automatic reaction. When we learn to sit with our emotions, they begin to reveal their deeper purpose. Anger often hides hurt. Fear often hides desire. Sadness often hides love. Every emotion carries a message about what matters to us. Strength grows when we learn to decode these messages instead of judging them. The more we understand ourselves internally, the more peacefully we can navigate the external world. People who lack emotional awareness often fall into extremes. They either let emotions control everything, reacting to every small insult, every disappointment, every fear, or they bury emotions completely, pretending everything is fine until they break down. Both extremes weaken the mind. Awareness, however, creates a middle path. It teaches us to feel without drowning, to think without overthinking, to speak without harming, and to react without regret. Another beautiful aspect of awareness is that it improves relationships. When we understand our emotions, we also become more patient with the emotions of others. We learn not to take things personally, not to assume the worst, and not to respond with ego. Strong minds create strong relationships because they bring calmness to conversations and compassion to conflicts. Ultimately, emotional awareness is not about controlling what you feel, but choosing what you do with what you feel. And that choice, made again and again, becomes the foundation of unshakable mental strength. When we look at the moments that built us into who we are today, we often discover they were not gentle moments. They were moments of pressure, discomfort, and uncertainty. Life, just like a potter, knows exactly how to shape us, and the process is rarely soft. When a potter wants to create something beautiful out of clay, he does not whisper to it, nor does he shield it from friction. He places it on a hard wheel, presses it, squeezes it, rotates it rapidly, and sometimes even strikes it. If we saw only the force being applied, we might think the potter was harming the clay. But his intention is never destruction, it is transformation. In the same way, life applies pressure not to break us, but to reveal the strength and the potential hidden within us. Most people want growth without discomfort, change without challenge, and strength without struggle. But that is simply not how life works. Hardship is not a punishment, it is a tool of shaping. Think of a diamond. It is only a piece of coal until it undergoes immense heat and pressure. Without that process, it remains ordinary. Pressure creates brilliance. Similarly, when life puts us under stress, it is often preparing us to shine in a way we could not have imagined before. There are times when a challenge arrives suddenly and we feel shaken. Maybe a friendship ends unexpectedly. Maybe a loved one disappoints us. Maybe we lose a job or an opportunity we worked hard for. In those moments, we feel as if life is rotating us on its wheel, spinning us in directions we never planned. But just like the potter's wheel, that spinning is part of creating balance, symmetry, and strength within us. Sometimes a challenge simply brings our weaknesses to the surface so we can finally address them. Other times, it helps us discover strengths we didn't know we possessed. Imagine a muscle growing in the gym. It grows only when it is pushed beyond comfort. The very act of lifting weight creates tiny tears in the muscle fibers, and during recovery, they rebuild stronger. Without the tear, there is no strength. Without the resistance, there is no growth. What looks like breaking is actually strengthening. Life works in exactly the same way. The difficulties we face often stretch us emotionally, mentally, and spiritually. They force us to develop patience, resilience, discipline, humility, and gratitude. These qualities do not grow in peaceful conditions. They grow in pressure. When everything goes our way, we enjoy life. But we don't evolve. Growth is a result of overcoming, not avoiding. So sometimes we interpret pressure as a sign that we're on the wrong path. But pressure is often a sign that something meaningful is being built within us. The potter doesn't shape clay that he wants to throw away. He shapes clay that he wants to turn into something valuable. Similarly, life applies pressure where there is potential. There is potential. If everything in life happened easily, we would never know our own capability. We would never learn endurance, never build courage, never develop inner calm, and never discover how powerful the human spirit truly is. It is only when we are tested that we realize what we're made of. Pressure is not comfortable, but it is purposeful. It reveals a version of ourselves we might never meet without struggle. Life shapes us the way the potter shapes clay, with intention, with precision, and with a vision of what we can become. The pressure we experience is not the end of our story, it is the beginning of our transformation. In life, we often wait for perfect conditions before we begin anything important. We tell ourselves, I'll start when things settle down, when I feel confident, when I have time, when the situation becomes easier. But life rarely presents us with ideal moments. There will always be challenges, distractions, imperfections, and unexpected situations that interrupt our plans. Mental strength is built not by waiting for the perfect time, but by moving forward, even when life is not perfect. Strength grows when we choose action over excuses. Many people give up on their goals not because they lack ability, but because they are waiting for motivation. Motivation is like a guest. It arrives when it wants to, stays for a while, then suddenly disappears. But discipline, even in small steps, creates steady progress. A strong mind understands that action comes first and motivation follows, not the other way around. If we wait for the right mood, the right day, or the right circumstances, we may spend our whole life waiting. Think of a sailor who sets out to sea. He doesn't wait for the ocean to be calm every day. He learns to navigate through waves, adjust his direction during storms, and keep moving even when the wind changes. If he only sailed during perfect weather, he would never reach anywhere meaningful. Life works the same way. We cannot control the waves, but we can control how we steer our ship. Sometimes action feels difficult because our mind magnifies the size of a task. A simple step begins to look like a mountain. But mountains are climbed through small, steady steps, not giant leaps. Ugh. When we focus only on the final destination, we feel overwhelmed. But when we focus on taking one small step today, the journey becomes manageable. Mental strength grows when we learn to value consistency more than intensity. There are moments when fear stops us from acting, fear of failure, fear of judgment, fear of uncertainty. But avoiding action does not remove fear, it only strengthens it. The more we run from fear, the more power it gains over us. On the other hand, when we take even the smallest step despite fear, we slowly reclaim our confidence. Action shrinks fear. Inaction feeds it. Many people blame circumstances for their inaction. I don't have support, I don't have time, I don't have the resources. But history is full of people who achieved greatness despite limited resources. What they had was not a perfect environment, but an unshakable intention. They understood that excuses are comfortable, but they also become cages. Every time we choose an excuse, we give away our power. Every time we choose action, we take that power back. There is a beautiful thing about consistent effort. It compounds. Small actions performed daily become habits. Habits become character, and character shapes destiny. A mentally strong person knows that progress is often invisible at first. It happens quietly, like the roots of a tree growing underground. You don't see results immediately, but slowly, something powerful is taking shape. Choosing action over excuses doesn't mean pushing yourself harshly. It means showing up with sincerity. Some days your steps may be small, some days big, but what matters is that you keep moving. The direction is more important than the speed. Even the slowest progress is still progress. Life will never be perfectly aligned for you to begin. But the moment you start sincerely, consistently, life begins to align itself around your effort. And that is how mental strength grows. Not by waiting, but by choosing to act day after day, even when conditions are far from perfect in life. Many of us rely too heavily on motivation. We wait for that spark of inspiration, that sudden burst of energy, that perfect moment when everything feels exciting and effortless. But motivation is temporary. It is like a visitor that knocks on our door once in a while, stays briefly, and leaves without warning. If we depend on it, our progress will always be inconsistent and fragile. True mental strength is built through discipline. The quiet, steady force that keeps us moving even on days when motivation is nowhere to be found. The discipline is not loud, dramatic, or glamorous. It is often the simple decision to do what needs to be done, even when you don't feel like it. It is waking up early when your bed feels warm and your eyes feel heavy. It is practicing a skill when your mind is tired. It is choosing long-term growth over short-term comfort. It is saying a no to distractions even when they look tempting. Discipline is the foundation of every meaningful achievement because growth demands consistency and consistency demands discipline. Think of a farmer planting seeds. He doesn't wake up every morning excited to work in the fields. Some days are hot, some are exhausting, some are slow. But he shows up every day because he knows that the harvest depends not on how he feels, but on what he repeatedly does. His consistency, not his emotional state, determines the outcome. In the same way, our dreams don't grow through occasional bursts of enthusiasm. They grow through daily commitment. Many people confuse discipline with harshness, but discipline is actually an act of self-respect. It means valuing your future self enough to do what your present self may resist. It means understanding that comfort is temporary, but growth is lasting. It means trusting the process even when the results are not visible yet. Imagine a tree growing underground in its early days. All the work happens beneath the surface. Nobody can see the roots forming, strengthening, and expanding, but without those invisible days of preparation, no tree could ever rise above the soil. Our disciplined efforts are like those roots, quiet, unseen, yet essential. When we rely only on motivation, we end up stopping and starting repeatedly. We feel enthusiastic one day, lazy the next. We begin many things but complete very few. But discipline creates momentum. The more we stick to a routine, the easier it becomes. The mind starts adapting, the body becomes comfortable with effort, and the heart gains confidence. Slowly, the things that once felt difficult become natural. This transformation is not sudden. It is learned through consistency. Discipline also protects us from regret. Many people later in life do not regret what they failed at. They regret what they never disciplined themselves to pursue. They regret the times they postponed dreams, avoided effort, or allowed distractions to steal their focus. Discipline gives us the strength to choose what matters over what is easy. And a beautiful thing happens when discipline becomes a habit. We start experiencing the joy of progress. Progress, even slow progress, is deeply satisfying. It builds confidence, strengthens character, and shows us what we are capable of. It becomes a source of internal motivation. Not the temporary kind that comes from outside, but the steady kind that grows from within. Mental strength is built through disciplined habits, the thoughts we choose, the routines we follow, the actions we repeat. Motivation may start the journey, but discipline is what completes it. It is the quiet force that carries us forward when the excitement fades, leading us step by step toward the best version of ourselves. The mind is like a garden constantly growing something. The question is not whether something is growing in it, but what is growing. Our thoughts are the seeds. Plant negative seeds, and the garden fills with weeds that drain our energy and hope. Plant positive seeds, and the garden flourishes with clarity, confidence, and inner peace. Mental standing that the quality of our life is deeply connected to the quality of our life is deeply connected to the quality of our thoughts. Many people underestimate the power of the mind. They believe thoughts are harmless, temporary visitors that come and go without influence. But every thought leaves a mark. Every repeated thought becomes a belief. Every belief shapes behavior, and combined behaviors shape destiny. This is why training the mind is not optional, it is essential. Our outer world reflects our inner world far more than we realize. Imagine two people facing the same challenge. One sees it as an obstacle that will ruin everything, while the other sees it as a lesson that will make them stronger. The situation is the same, but the experience is completely different because of the thoughts. The first person will feel it tired and hopeless. The second person will feel focused, patient, and determined. The difference is not the challenge, but the mindset. Our mind has the ability to exaggerate problems or reduce them. It can make small issues look massive or make massive issues feel manageable. A mentally strong person trains the mind to see things with balance, not through the lens of fear, doubt, or negativity, but through clarity and calmness. Clarity and calmness. When the mind becomes peaceful, life becomes peaceful, no matter what is happening around us. But cultivating strong thoughts requires effort. The mind, if left unattended, naturally drifts toward worry, comparison, and self-criticism. It focuses on what is missing rather than what is present. This is why awareness is so important. When you become aware of thoughts, you gain the ability to choose them. You stop letting the mind run in autopilot mode, and you start taking responsibility for your inner dialogue. There is a story about two wolves inside every person. One wolf represents fear, anger, jealousy, doubt, and negativity. The other represents confidence, peace, kindness, courage, and positivity. A child asks an elder which wolf wins. The elder replies, whichever one you feed. Our thoughts are the food. Every time we choose to think positively, we strengthen the good wolf. Every time we feed negativity, we empower the other one. Strong thoughts do not mean unrealistic thinking. It is not about pretending that everything is perfect or ignoring problems. It is about facing challenges with a mindset that supports growth instead of destruction. It is about saying, this is difficult, but I can handle it, instead of, this is impossible and I am helpless. It is about choosing hope over despair, patience over panic, and trust over fear. We become mentally stronger when we consciously direct our thoughts towards solutions instead of problems. Instead of thinking, why is this happening to me? A stronger mind thinks, what can I learn from this? Instead of thinking, I'm not good enough, a stronger mind thinks, I am improving every day. These shifts may seem small, but over time they reshape everything. Our habits, our confidence, our relationships, and our entire sense of self. Just as we nourish our body with healthy food, we must nourish our mind with healthy thoughts. What we read, who we listen to, how we speak to ourselves, and what we focus on daily, all of these are mental nutrition. And when the mind is nourished with empowering thoughts, we naturally develop resilience, clarity, and inner strength. The thoughts we choose shape the life we live. A strong mind is simply a mind that knows how to choose thoughts that support peace, progress, and purpose. The people we surround ourselves with play a much bigger role in our mental strength than we often realize. Human beings are deeply influenced creatures. We absorb the moods, attitudes, energy, and even the thought patterns of the people around us. Just as a sponge absorbs water without choosing which type of water it touches, our mind absorbs qualities from the environment we stay in. This is why it's said that the company we keep is one of the greatest factors in shaping who we become. Imagine sitting near a fireplace or a blaze. Even if you don't touch the flames, you still feel the warmth. Now imagine sitting near a block of ice. You don't need to hold it for your body to feel cold. Similarly, when we sit with people who are negative, bitter, jealous, or constantly complaining, their energy slowly affects us. Even if we don't participate in their negativity, we begin to feel drained. Our mind becomes heavier, our thoughts become more scattered, and our confidence slowly weakens. On the other hand, when we are around uplifting, wise, and positive people, we feel lighter, stronger, and calmer. Their presence doesn't just change the environment, it changes us. Good company acts like sunlight for the mind. Even if we don't talk much, just being around such people nourishes our inner world. Every friendship, every association leaves an imprint. As some people inspire us to become better. Some distract us from our purpose, some encourage us to grow, some push us towards stress, some bring peace, some bring chaos. Mental strength develops when we consciously choose which influences we allow into our heart. There is a saying that if you put one rotten fruit in a basket of good fruits, it can spoil them all. But a good fruit placed among rotten ones cannot make them fresh again. This is not a judgment of people, but a reminder of influence. Negativity spreads easily. Positivity requires effort. This is why protecting our mental environment is essential. What we allow into our space eventually enters our mind. Sometimes people around us may not be intentionally negative. They may be dealing with their own struggles, fears, or insecurities. But if their energy constantly pulls us down, we must learn the art of gentle distance, not out of ego, but out of self-care. Protecting our peace is not selfish. It is necessary for growth. And good company is not only about friends or family. It also includes the content we consume, the conversations we engage in, the messages we watch, the music we listen to, and the voices we repeatedly hear. Every piece of information becomes food for the mind. Just as we wouldn't eat spoiled food and expect to stay healthy, we cannot consume chaotic, negative, or toxic content and expect mental strength. Spending time with positive people teaches us valuable lessons without them even trying. Their calmness teaches us patience. Their optimism teaches us hope. Their discipline teaches us consistency. Their kindness teaches us humility. Their clarity teaches us direction. Even their silence teaches us something about inner peace. Sometimes just being in the presence of a grounded and wise person is enough to reset our entire mindset. Their energy acts like a mirror, reflecting our best potential back to us. They may not solve our problems, but they remind us that we are capable of solving them ourselves. A strong mind doesn't isolate itself from the world. It chooses its environment carefully. It surrounds itself with people who uplift, encourage, understand, and inspire. Because ultimately, the company we keep is not just a social experience, it is mental nourishment. And when the soul is fed with good company, mental strength naturally grows day by day, thought by thought, moment by moment. One of the most important aspects of mental strength is learning the art of acceptance. Yet acceptance is often misunderstood. Many people think acceptance means weakness, surrender, or giving up. But acceptance is not about quitting. It is about understanding what is within our control and what is not. It is about making peace with reality instead of exhausting ourselves fighting against it. So much of our suffering comes not from the situation itself, but from our resistance to it. Life never follows our exact plans. No matter how much we try to control circumstances, people, outcomes, and timing, life has its own rhythm. When we resist this rhythm, when we demand that everything align perfectly with our expectations, we create unnecessary mental tension. Acceptance is the ability to breathe deeply in the middle of uncertainty and say, I may not understand this right now, but I trust that I can navigate it. Imagine trying to push a river upstream. No matter how strong you are, you will only tire yourself. Acceptance is not swimming against the current. It is learning to flow with the current, using the movement of life to carry you forward instead of fighting it. It means recognizing that some things, like other people's choices, past events, natural changes, or unexpected turns, are not in our hands. What is in our hands is our response. Mental strength grows when we shift our focus from controlling the uncontrollable to mastering what we can. Our attitude, our thoughts, our actions, and our perspective. We may not control the storm, but we can control how we navigate our boat. We may not control the wind, but we can adjust our sails. Acceptance also gives us clarity. When we are stuck in denial, anger, or resistance, our mind becomes foggy. We act impulsively, emotionally, or fearfully. But when we accept reality as it is, our mind becomes clear enough to make wise decisions. Clarity is born from calmness, and calmness is born from acceptance. Sometimes acceptance means acknowledging that a relationship has changed, even if we don't want it to. Sometimes it means realizing that a dream may need to be adjusted, not abandoned. Sometimes it means letting go of something we held on to for too long. Holding on doesn't always make things better. Sometimes it only deepens the wound. Letting go, on the other hand, creates space for healing. Acceptance also protects our energy. When we stop trying to control what is outside our authority, we free up emotional space to focus on growth. We stop wasting energy on a why did this happen to me and move toward what can I learn from this. This shift turns pain into wisdom and setbacks into stepping stones. Acceptance is not passive, it is active courage. It takes strength to look at a situation clearly. It takes humility to acknowledge limits. It takes wisdom to recognize what truly matters. And it takes deep inner maturity to say, this is not in my control, but I am in control of how I move forward. When we accept life as it comes, we stop drowning in the waves and start learning how to ride them. We develop resilience not by controlling the world, but by aligning ourselves with its natural flow. Acceptance is the quiet strength that allows us to move forward with peace, clarity, and confidence, no matter what life brings. Setbacks are a natural part of every meaningful journey, yet they often feel like the end of the road. When something doesn't go according to plan, a goal fails, a relationship breaks, an opportunity disappears, the first feeling that arises is disappointment. It is human to feel that way. But what many people don't realize is that setbacks are not signs that we are moving in the wrong direction. They are often signs that we are being redirected towards something bigger, wiser, and more aligned with our true purpose. Life is not a straight line. It is a winding path with unexpected turns. A setback is simply one of those turns. Imagine driving on a road and suddenly finding that a path is blocked due to construction. You might feel frustrated in that moment, but the detour often leads you to a clearer, safer route. Similarly, a setback is life's construction work. Something is being repaired, rebuilt, or rearranged behind the scenes, even if we cannot see it immediately. Many times in life, we interpret delays as failures. We assume that if something didn't happen when we wanted it to, it will never happen at all. But delay is not denial. Sometimes the timing is not right, sometimes we are not prepared, and sometimes what we desire is not as beneficial as we think. A setback slows us down only to prepare us for something ahead that needs our improved strength, patience, or understanding. Think of a bow being pulled backward. The more it is pulled back, the farther the arrow will fly. The pullback may feel uncomfortable, even painful, but without it, the arrow has no power. In the same way, setbacks pull us back so that our future growth has more momentum. They create the tension necessary to propel us forward. Every setback carries a lesson, but we can only learn it when we stop asking, why is this happening to me? And start asking, what is this teaching me? A failure teaches humility and wisdom. A betrayal teaches discernment. A disappointment teaches patience. A loss teaches gratitude. A delay teaches trust. The lesson is always hidden inside the experience, waiting for us to discover it. It is easy to lose confidence when things fall apart, but sometimes things fall apart so better things can come together. A closed door might seem like rejection, but it is often protection. Life does not deny us what is meant for us. It simply removes what will not serve us in the long run. When we look back, months or years later, we often realize that the setback was actually one of the best things that ever happened to us. Setbacks also reveal who we truly are. Anyone can stay positive when life is smooth, but true strength appears when the road becomes rough. Setbacks test our resilience, our patience, and our determination. They show us whether we are committed or just convenient. They separate those who quit easily from those who rise again with renewed clarity. Imagine a child learning to walk. They fall again and again, but each fall helps them learn balance. Without falling, they would never learn how to stand firmly. In the same way, every setback refines us. It sharpens our vision, strengthens our spirit, and deepens our understanding of ourselves. Setbacks are not meant to stop us. They are meant to shape us. They push us to grow in ways comfort never could. They redirect us to paths we would have never chosen on our own. They force us to slow down, reflect, and rebuild stronger foundations. And with every setback we overcome, we become more confident, more patient, and more prepared for the future ahead. A setback is not a dead end. It is an invitation to rise, to learn, to adjust, and to continue the journey with greater wisdom than before. One of the deepest truths about mental strength is that we grow through what we go through. Life does not hand us strength on a silver platter. It gives us experiences, some easy, some difficult, and asks us to navigate them. Every challenge, every pain, every moment of doubt is an opportunity for growth, even if it does not feel like it at the time. Strength is not something we are born with, it is something we cultivate moment by moment through the lessons that life presents. Think of a tree in a storm. The wind bends its branches, sometimes even breaking them. The rain beats on its leaves, but the tree does not collapse. With each storm, the roots grow deeper, anchoring it more firmly into the ground. Similarly, every hardship we face pushes us to develop deeper resilience. The experiences that seem overwhelming in the moment often become the foundation of our inner strength later on. We may not see the growth while we are in the struggle, but it is happening quietly, shaping us in ways that comfort never could. We often wish for a life without difficulties, but difficulties are the forge in which our mental, emotional, and spiritual strength is created. When life is easy, we enjoy comfort but rarely evolve. The hard moments, the failures, the losses, the heartbreaks, the disappointments teach us lessons that cannot be learned otherwise. They teach patience, perseverance, humility, empathy, and courage. They reveal to us the parts of ourselves that we did not know existed, the abilities and capacities that remain dormant until they are tested. Growth through experience also requires perspective. It is easy to feel victimized when life challenges us, to wonder, why me or why now? But the moment we shift our perspective and see each challenge as a lesson, each setback as a step forward, the journey changes. What once felt like suffering begins to feel like preparation. Each difficulty becomes a teacher, guiding us toward understanding, self-awareness, and resilience. The pain of today becomes the wisdom of tomorrow. Another beautiful aspect of growing through what we go through is that it builds empathy and compassion. When we face struggles, we understand the struggles of others in a way that superficial experiences cannot teach. Our own challenges allow us to connect with others who suffer, to offer kindness and support, and to inspire hope. Mental strength is not only about surviving our own storms, it is about using what we learn to help others navigate theirs. It is important to remember that growth through experience is rarely linear. Sometimes it feels like we are moving backward, like the challenges are endless, but even in these moments, progress is occurring beneath the surface. The lessons, the skills, and the resilience we develop quietly accumulate until one day we look back and see how far we have come. Growth is subtle, gradual, and often invisible, but it is always happening when we face life with courage and reflection. Life's experiences also teach us that strength is not about avoiding pain, but about embracing it with purpose. We do not gain resilience by pretending challenges don't exist or by escaping difficulties. We gain resilience by meeting them head on, learning from them, and using them as stepping stones. Each challenge we overcome adds a layer to our inner fortress, making us more capable of handling future storms. Ultimately, the secret is simple. The more we live fully, face life courageously, and embrace experiences, both the joyful and the painful, the more mentally strong we become. Strength is not a gift. It is a product of living, learning, and growing through every situation that life places before us. Each moment, no matter how difficult, is an opportunity to discover the strongest version of ourselves that has always existed within.